There's something very interesting that is happening within the united opposition right now. Rigathi Gachagua, as we know, he has just wrapped up his 56 days of consultation at Wamonyoro. And the message that he came out with was very clear. The ground is telling Rigathi Gachagua to run for president.
Kenyans have told me that they have analyzed and decided that Rigathi Gachagua needs to be the preferred presidential candidate of the United Alternative Government 2027 general elections.
At the same time, top political analysts are asking a deeply uncomfortable question. The question is Rigathi Gachagua actually preparing to walk away from the united opposition?
But of late, something interesting has happened. Rigathi Gachagua now has missed two important events led by the opposition.
According to emerging reports, he doesn't seem particularly comfortable with the idea of Fred Okengo Matiangi.
He honestly doesn't like Matiangi.
At the same time, in Western Kenya, Cleophas Malala and Boni Halwale are locked in a high-stakes standoff that may end up forcing one Cleo Malala to resign from DCP.
Tafadhali nitaambia Rigiji bwana, acha wewe, acha kwanza nipigane hizi vita. Huyu Halwale mimi nimejitolea. Akienda kwa chama cha uji, nitaenda kwa chama cha uji.
For that and much, much more, this is the Big Man Report. If you love this kind of content, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Now let's get to the video.
Geoffrey Rigathi Gachagua is a man who has consistently said that he believes in a united opposition, that should people settle on somebody other than him, he would fully support that. But of late, something interesting has happened.
There's a theory that is making rounds that Rigathi Gachagua is actually preparing to exit from the united opposition.
Rigathi Gachagua now has missed two important events.
Analysts have pointed out that Rigathi Gachagua has been missing some crucial opposition meetings.
One is when the opposition was giving their statement on the happenings in Homa Bay. Rigathi Gachagua didn't show up.
But even more telling is his workload.
Gachagua anaishi juu ya gani? Mimi sipendi siasa lakini wacha niongee. Gachagua pasa anaishi juu ya gani? Akisema one time. Kila mtu sasa tunaongea na wewe anaimba one time.
The man is everywhere. He's traveling, consulting, speaking, and building his independent political machine. Independent, underline independent.
Harambe, one time. Harambe, one time.
And the political logic is actually very simple. If you're doing 90% of the heavy lifting while everyone else is just sitting around at the table in Nairobi, at some point, you're going to ask yourself, what am I actually getting out of this?
Rigiji is the most hardworking politician in United Alternative Opposition, if you ask me, because he has always, by the way, if he goes to America, as he is saying, in the next couple of days, there will be very minimal political rallies and activities.
There's also the Fred Matiangi factor. Reports suggest that Gashagua's biggest friction point isn't actually Uhuru Kenyatta. It is that Uhuru Kenyatta is bringing Fred Okengo Matiangi direct into the united opposition.
He honestly doesn't like Matiangi. And he has tried his level best to accommodate Matiangi, but there is a part of him that can't just reconcile with working with Matiangi.
You guys have noticed this. Even when Fred Okengo Matiangi was actually joining the opposition from the word go, Rigathi Gachagua didn't seem very happy about the idea, but he just accommodated him.
And so he doesn't want to share a podium with Matiangi. There is a part of him that feels like moving forward, there is no need to work openly with Matiangi.
I want you to look at the recent Kijana Wamalo Memorial. Martha Karua was there, Kalonzo Musyoka was there, Eugene Wamalwa was also there. But Gachagua, he was absent.
This particular event in Kitale, he would be meeting someone who values Matiangi. Remember when Uhuru Kenyatta was mentioning the names of people who could be elected president, when he was denying that he is not a sponsor or anything, he didn't mention Rigathi Gachagua as one of the candidates.
Now, one absence does not mean that this is a political divorce, but when you stack that absence next to his relentless solo campaigning, the question gets very hard to ignore.
The way to beat the beat the incumbent, he says, is for him to be at the front of this.
You see, Rigathi Gachagua is not just sitting around. Yesterday, he dropped his clearest indication yet of where his head is at. After 56 days of consultations at Wamunyoro, he released his report. And the key takeaway was very simple. He claimed that the people told him point blank that you must run for president because you are the best person to defeat William Samoei Ruto.
Kenyans have instructed me to persuade my colleagues that I'm the best bet to guarantee a first round win.
You see, Gashagua plays a very clever game here. He consistently says that I do not necessarily need to be the one to run for president.
Najua anasema ati Rigiji lazima akuwe ni yeye. Nani nawaambia?
But in that exact same breath, he adds, however, I don't see anyone else in this united opposition who is more qualified than I to defeat William Samoei Ruto. Basically, what he's saying is that I'm not demanding the ticket, but if you guys are serious about winning, you guys have to look at the math. He even throws in a disclaimer that he'll support whoever that the opposition chooses.
Yes, mimi nataka na Wakenya wananitaka. Lakini wakisema ni wache, ndio hii mtu aende nyumbani. Si mimi nitawacha? Yeah.
But the subtext is actually clear. Do not mistake my flexibility for weakness.
In their assessment of the energy, of the trust of the people, of the leadership qualities, of the experience, the infrastructure, the capacity, and the political network to deliver that victory.
And have you heard that Gachagua is actually now the ultimate pace setter for the president?
I am actually now setting the agenda for William Ruto. Juzi nilikuwa Narok, pahali Narok East, amekimbia hapo leo. Nikaenda Emurua Dikil, kesho anaenda huko. Hii mtu nimemrudisha nyumbani. I've confined William Ruto back home. He is struggling at home.
He has said that he's going to America, but when he comes back, he's planning to tour Nandi and Uasin Gishu and other counties in Rift Valley so that the president can follow him and bring some development to those places.
Nakimbia America kidogo, nikirudi nitakimbia Bomet, nikimbia Kericho, nikimbia Nandi, ndio anifuate nyuma. Hiyo watu wapate maendeleo kidogo.
The message here is actually simple. I have the power to move the government. And remember, William Ruto chose him as the running mate in 2022. So, of all the people who understands the capabilities of Rigathi Gachagua, and I've said this repeatedly, is one William Samoei Ruto. Ruto saw his organizational drive and his mobilization skills. So today, pretending that Gachagua does not matter is actually a massive political miscalculation.
It is the Ukombozi People's Party, and that is what the principals have actually come into agreement on.
So, while Gachagua is actually building his machine, another major movement is actually hunting for a proper vehicle. That is Linda Mwananchi. Linda Mwananchi is now heading to court. They've decided to sue the registrar of political parties.
The row over the registration of Linda Mwananchi movement as a political party has moved to the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal.
The battle here is simple. They want the name Linda Mwananchi Party of Kenya.
Kwa sababu Linda Mwananchi kuna wapurukenge walienda wakafunga. Linda Mwananchi, chama ya Linda Mwananchi ni Ukombozi People's Party, UPP.
And speaking of Linda Mwananchi Party, enter Cleo Malala.
Mimi najua mimi nikisimama Halwale asimame, mtu anaweza pita katikati. So ningependa kutangaza leo hapa, mimi nitahakikisha kwamba the united opposition itakuwa na candidate mmoja.
Malala has insisted that there will only be one united opposition candidate for governor in Kakamega. And he has decided that he's going to do whatever it takes to make sure that there's only one united opposition candidate.
So ile kitu mimi nitafanya, kama the United Opposition Coalition Party itaturuhusu tufanye nominations,
mimi nitaparticipate kwa hizo nominations. Kama Khalwale atakimbia aende kwa chama ya sema ya Linda Mwananchi, kama hiyo nitaona kwamba itafanya baraza arudi, nitaenda kwa hiyo chama ya Khalwale yako mpaka tufanye nomination na yeye. Nitamfuata kila mahali anaenda. Kila mahali anaenda. Nitangaza leo hapa.
Even though he is the deputy party leader for DCP, he is willing to drop that title.
Hata fadhali nitaambia Rigijibu na acha kwanza nipigane hizi vita. Huyu Khalwale mimi nimejitolea. Akienda kwa chama cha uji, nitaenda kwa chama cha uji.
I mean, you have to respect that sheer audacity. Malala is walking right into the ring and saying, bring Khalwale. Let's run the nominations and let the people decide.
Ako na chama yake inaitwa UPM. Nitaingia kwa hiyo chama. Paka tufanye nominations na Khalwale.
It takes balls. It takes balls. We respect balls.
And by the way, while we are talking about employment, Wetangula admitted that the TSC is not hiring. So guys can stop applying.
Now, let's take a quick pause from high-stakes politicking because the next story is one that is deeply concerning. This is about teachers. As a matter of fact, I want to say, if you're a teacher in this country, not yet a teacher, if you're in the university studying education, you're taking education, so you want to be a teacher in the future, there's no one who should be saying one term louder than you, because it turns out the Teacher Service Commission, that is the TSC, is no longer employing the people.
Imagine a whole president having TSC letters at State House and issuing them like popcorn to politicians to use as bait for the miserable youth.
Think about what that means for that young Kenyan who has actually spent 4 years in the university grinding for an education degree, only to realize that instead of applying through fair, transparent systems, they are forced to look for an MP. And do you know what these MPs do? They are selling these letters. Some of them are going for as high as 500,000 Kenya shillings.
If you want to join the Kenyan military, you have to pay 700,000 Kenya shillings. To get TSC letters, it's 500,000 Kenya shillings.
So again, I want to repeat, if you're actually doing education in the university, no one in this country should be shouting one term more than you. Your vote has already been decided for you. If at all you want to have a chance to work in this government, in this country, you need to change this government, because we need a government that can actually respect institutions and systems. Can Teacher Service Commission be allowed to hire teachers as they have always been doing for a long time?
Sisi tutashirikiana na serikali na tuko tayari, wanaume wanaonana uwanjani.
Now let us go back to politics. Let's talk about Deputy President Kithure Kindiki. Personally, I'm very sad for one Deputy President Kithure Kindiki because I do not understand whether people don't respect him or they just watu wanadharau Deputy President Kithure Kindiki. Because tell me why. Simba Arati stands on a podium and says that as ODM, and this is the second time that he's actually saying this, that as ODM, they're going for the Deputy President seat.
Na sisi kama mimi unajua ni Deputy Party Leader wa ODM. Tumesema wakati rais tumepea yeye kiti kama rais wetu, na sisi watu wa ODM tutaenda for deputy.
Up to that point is okay. I mean, anyone can be ambitious. But then, in the same breath, he tells Kindiki,
nimeona deputy wetu Kindiki, nimemwambia asiwe na wasiwasi.
What do you mean don't worry? You guys want to take his job and you're telling him not to worry. You guys must really not respect the professor. You guys clearly do not respect the professor. I do not know whether this is just something that you have acquired, that now you don't respect the professor, or you've gotten it from the Gashagua. Because
yeye anatafuta sanamu. Si yako na moja? Yes sir. Wewe Sabrano. Wewe Sabrano. Uja hapa.
Which brings us to the ultimate wake-up call for State House. Someone seems to believe that the amount of defeat that William Samoei Ruto is going to suffer in 2027 is one that has come from him losing on both fronts. You see, in 2022, it is said that William Ruto had managed to get a very strong party. a very strong party, a very popular party called UDA. At the same time, he had a team of very strong mobilizers, very strong young men who are willing to go to battle for him. Guess what? In 2027, he has lost both of those.
If you're looking at 2027 as a smooth ride for you, Mr. President, you need to change the choir. You need to look for good generals to run your campaign. You need to change the communication. My friend, it can't work like that. And it's good to tell you, as of now, ile gari inakula si yako. Yes, unajua ni vizuri unaambia ukweli ili uimprove. Ile gari inakula sahi, by the way, ni Linda Mwananchi. Na kwa hiyo ni kwa presidency. Kwa legislature huko kwa ma MPs, ile gari inakula ni wa Munyoro na Linda Mwananchi. That means you have a big war for the next 1 year. Ni vizuri uambiwe zile gari zinakula ili usiassume gari yako ni inaongoza.
Everything that Ruto had going for him in 2022 has somehow just disappeared. Now, if the opposition manages to bring these two together, if there's just a bridge that can be built between Gashagua and Linda Mwananchi, DCP and Linda Mwananchi, if these two come together, then the math gets very dangerous for one William Samoei Ruto.
So kama ni marking scheme watatu kuambia saa hii ya 4, wewe kuna gari mbili ziko mbele yako na ziko na mbio.
So the question is, can the united opposition actually afford to lose Rigathi Gachagua? If he walks away, this is my take, the opposition will actually fracture, which is exactly what William Ruto would actually love. But what is on the flip side? If Gashagua's machine and Sifuna's youth momentum, Kalonzo's experience, Matiangi's profile, and the Linda Mwananchi network ever form a single solid front, 2027 becomes a complete different ballgame. But I want to know what you think. Is Gashagua really leaving, or is this just a tactical positioning? Please drop your thoughts in the comments below and do not forget to like and subscribe. Bye.